Nice
Good.
to meet you.
Nice meeting you. Where are you based at?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Ah, awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Let's probably start. Yesterday's just new video was released by Voivod, and this one was unusual. You were using this artificial intelligence technology. So, how did you like the result? Were you impressed by the how it turned out?
Yes, I was actually blown away. A few months ago, I started to see AI art online, and I was already blown away. But when I saw what could be done in terms of animation using AI, my jaw dropped to the floor. And of course, there will be a lot of debate since it's sort of digging into the internet collective consciousness, and there will be a lot of debate about um, artist proprieties, or I don't know how to say that in English, but yeah. So it's just to me a fantastic tool to make very psychedelic videos with a lot of morphing, and it would take 100 years to do that frame by frame.
Yeah, but not all people seem to be excited. Some say just saving money and trying not to do that. Creative yourself.
Yes, they are. I mean, it's a it's a debate that's been around for a long time, in the sense that when I started doing digital art in the 80s, many of my friends were telling me it was not art, and now many people are complaining that it's not art, and it's also stealing the job of artists. But there's one thing you need to keep in mind is there's still one artist behind making this happen, and I mean, the AI doesn't do stuff by itself. So the Luke who did our video is our webmaster, and when he showed me what he could do with AI generated art, I thought it fit the aesthetic of Voivod so much, and it was and so the video is done by an artist. So um, these are complex questions for a modern time. It's yeah, but I think that it's a technology that's getting more popular every day, and soon a lot of videos are going to be AI generated, I'm sure.
Yeah, and so I guess you'll be using this stuff in future as well, and more experiments are coming.
Well, I don't know, because we tend to try not to repeat ourselves. So I'm sure that the next video won't be AI generated. And it was for us just an extension of the sci-fi connection to Voivod, So we had to experiment with AI for this video, but I think we're gonna do something else for the next video. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and there are some people who just make songs, whole songs using this technology and write lyrics or something like that.
Yeah,
Haven't
yeah.
you tried that?
I saw that somebody did AI graphic novel, like, and it's AI, the stories from the AI generated software, and the images as well. Everything is AI. But again, you still need to have this avant-garde artist to make it happen, So yeah, it's the tools today to do visuals. The tools are amazing. From when I was doing the early multimedia stuff with Commodore in the 80s to now, it feels to me like 1,000 years happened. It's so amazing what's going on digitally, you know?
Yeah. And being into all this sci-fi thing, do you think that in some future, like robots and technology will inherit the world and enslave humans, like it was shown in all these movies?
Well, when I was a teenager, I saw a movie called Colossus, and it's a 70s movie, and it was about a giant computer in USA communicating with a giant computer in Russia and taking the control of the planet, um, uh, saying that they will launch all missiles, and so it's a scenario that always stuck with me. And it's I mean, now we wars are being fought with drones, and it's such a drag that's all the nanotechnology and the all the high tech technology, all the high technology. It's really developed towards weaponry, and that's something that always bothered me all my life. And now everybody's afraid that tomorrow morning will be World War III. So um, it's been a recurring nightmare. In the 90s, like Voivod were definitely part of the Cold War and the 80s and all that. And for a while in the 90s, I was still talking about high-tech weaponry, and people were telling me, "Oh, you're so retro." And I was thinking, no, the stockpiles of weapons are still there, and they're still building them. And if they build them, they say they won't use it, and they keep building them. And of course, now it's back to the front line, so it has caught up with us. The Voivod, what we talked about all these years, has caught up with us in a way.
Yeah. So you believe that not robots will kill the humanity, but rather humanity kills itself by using all this technology?
It's definitely going to be um, a deranged person using technology. I think.
Yeah. I was born in Soviet Union, so it's also somehow uh, you can quit thinking about of what to come next, actually. And this year you released the album called Synchro Anarchy, and it's in a way reflecting of what's going on in the world and its chaos and uncertainty. And you did really great job at showing it in your music and your lyrics and your videos. And do you think the worst is yet to come still?
If the world is about to end, or is that what you mean?
I don't know. Nobody knows. While you
I,
were,
you know, I've been stressed out about the destruction of this planet my whole life. That's why I have gray hair. And but I'm still a very happy person and very positive, and I'm lucky because when I'm not touring or recording with Voivod, I'm at home doing art, either for Voivod or other bands, and so I have a very good life, and it keeps me from stressing about the prospect of a world war. But what really helps me is playing drums. It's really like a presto, and all the stress comes out. And I really, really missed it during the pandemic because I don't have a drum kit at home. So it's what I missed the most. So I was really happy when we were finally able to go back on the road, first with sanitary restrictions, and then eventually, like this year, we went to USA, Europe, and Mexico, and people are really hungry for music. Yeah, we were afraid nobody would show up, and it's quite the opposite.
Yeah, I know many bands had a kind of downtime during all this pandemic and all this stuff, and saying, "Oh, we're not feeling creative," or people started drinking and whatever. But nothing seems to stop Voivod.
Yeah, we when it was we did a Gwar tour, Voivod and Gwar in Europe in 2019, and then we came back right before the holidays, and we took a bit of a break, and then we started in early 2020 to record material, improvisations, but it was in mid-March 2020 when everything shut down. We didn't have access to the studio. We couldn't meet up in one place, more than 5 people, and so we ended up doing a lot of the work, sharing files online. I was programming drum parts and for the demos, and so we did like the album like a big puzzle. But we also looked what we had in the bank, and we had some recordings from the Wake tour at the Montreal Jazz Festival and the Quebec City Summer Festival. So we ended up releasing vinyls and live material. And then when we were finally able to go into a studio, um, again with protocols, sanitary protocols, we started doing online shows, which was pretty fun. And uh, so we just kept moving on and on and on, and tried to release material as much as we could. And we basically never disappeared in a way. Yeah, it was and the way we were forced to build the album will be very handy for the next one. We will work a lot faster. The albums will be less apart. So it was a lesson for many people, but I saw many of my friends quitting, and many bands split up, and yeah, it was a very sad period, and hopefully we can hopefully it's behind us right now.
Yeah, hopefully. And do you like touring at all?
If I like touring,
Yeah, I do like touring. Do you enjoy
it's
it?
yeah, it's the love of my life is going on tour. It's what always brings me back to Voivod when we have a break, a forced break, or we are on hiatus. I get really antsy, and I can't wait to go back on the road. We have a very loyal following, and what I love is to go around the planet playing Voivod music for my old friends, new friends, and now we are more popular than ever. And there are about 3 or 4 generations watching Voivod, with kids singing Synchro Anarchy and the old school in the back. And yeah, it's a wonderful experience. So we are getting ready to tour with Opeth soon in Europe, and we just had a couple of rehearsals to refresh the set list, to make it maybe a little more progressive rock, and so it's super exciting. And
Hmm.
but what's really exciting is next year will be the 40th anniversary. So we'll have a documentary out by Felipe Belalcazar, who did Death by Metal, about the band Death. There'll be a book by Jeff Wagner about Voivod, and we're working on some sort of greatest hits album as well. So it's going to be a big year with a very extensive world tour.
Yeah. And where do you think Voivod is loved more, in Europe, or in America? Or, I don't know.
Oh, probably Europe, and also um, in Eastern Europe, we're very popular, and they certainly know how to yell Voivod over there because they had Voivods in different Eastern countries there, and so. Yeah, and we're pretty big in Germany. The Synchro Anarchy went number seven in all categories in the charts, which is mind-blowing because we are usually in the middle charts, but not the overall charts, you know. So Germany is really big for Voivod. Um, and South America, and we do very well in Japan. We did an amazing show in Moscow, Russia. Uh, we have a pretty good following, and it's been growing the past 10 years, maybe. It's been growing a lot.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think you're releasing a mini album, Ultraman. As far as I remember, and I guess you're aiming at Japanese audience as well with it because it's Japanese series.
Yes, plus Chewy, our guitar player, he speaks Japanese, so he did the Japanese version on vocals as well. So it was a fun experience, and Chewy actually came up with the idea, and we were all excited because we're all big fans of Ultraman, and it totally fits right in into the Voivod world, and so yeah, great experience.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
and do you need some kind of exercises to keep in good drumming shape because you're like a little bit this
Yeah,
year, and it maybe become harder to do long tours, or maybe not. I don't know.
well, the this year everything was fine. I um, when the pandemic hit, I couldn't play drums anymore. So I have a subscription for you know these bicycles that you can grab at one station and put it back another station,
Mhm.
and so I go all around town with this and along the St. Lawrence River. So that saved me a lot, and I try to keep in shape. During these months where I could not play drums, but it became difficult in the Quebec winter is pretty long, and so I got I don't know how you call it. It's a bicycle, an exercise bicycle in the apartment.
Yeah.
Yes,
And why don't you have a drum set at home?
because I don't live in a house, and they are neighbors, and so it's impossible for me to play drums here. I could probably set up a electronic drum kit,
Mhm.
but maybe in the future, if. But so far, so good. We have access to a studio and we can rehearse. I can play on a real drum kit.
Yeah, sure. Uh, Probably last year there was a big crowdfunding campaign to help to erect a statue of Piggy in his hometown, and it wasn't really successful funded. And what's
Yeah,
the
I
current
think that
status?
even though the Voivod, we supported that initiative, but we didn't start it. But we were definitely supportive of it. But I always thought they were too ambitious with the size of the statue and which cost a fortune. So they're right now trying to find another way to finance it through grants from the city and the government, you know. So we'll see what happens. It's a great idea, but they should probably take it a little smaller in a way. That's what I think. But it's a wonderful idea, though, because he definitely deserves it, Piggy.
Yeah, but it just was supposed to cost a lot of money. I don't remember what the aim was, but it was a lot.
Yes, I think, you know, they were aiming for more than $100,000. I can't recall,
Yeah, something like
but
that.
for to make a huge statue made out of aluminum. So it was they had a big dream, but you know it's a lot of money to ask from the people, and plus we had ourselves just made a crowd. a crowdfunding campaign for the movie about Voivod, which was the GoFundMe was really successful. So it might have been a bit too much to ask for from the people into Voivod.
Yeah. And besides music, you are known for your art, and you make art for Voivod records and sometimes for other bands. And do you think that art, cover art is still as important as it was in the like 20 years ago or maybe 30 years ago when everybody was judging music, going to record store and looking at the pictures? Do you think it's still important since everyone is listening music online?
I had to change my way of doing the visuals in the 90s, mainly because of the CD format. And I couldn't do the big sceneries anymore, like in the vinyl days of in the 80s, you know. And so I changed my approach. And then slowly, in the year 2000 and on, slowly but surely, vinyl came back in and it's now really popular. And I had to switch back to having the cover displayed bigger than the CD, which is great. So for the wake, I really went crazy and made a big scenery, and so it has become as important now because vinyl is so popular. I think, but. I sort of I mainly focused on it when I did the very first Voivod album, War and Pain, in '84. When I did the cover, I had to sort of remind myself of what I felt like when in 1980 I went in at the record store and I saw the first Iron Maiden album, and I immediately went for it. It just stuck out amongst the other covers, and I grabbed it before anybody could, and I looked at it and looked at the back, you know, and trying to figure out what kind of music. But immediately, I thought this is my new favorite band. And then when I took it home, I put the music on, and it was exactly what I was hoping it would be. And so I had that in mind when I did the War and Pain cover. I thought it has to attract the eye of a kid coming into the store, and it has to represent the music perfectly. And I was in a good position to represent the album visually because I created the concept and um, I was in the band. I heard decades later that the people from Metal Blade, they were really nervous when they opened. I shipped the painting to LA, and they were really nervous when they opened the box because the drummer was doing the cover. Yeah, but I think it's now. I think it's back. It got the importance back to it because of the popularity of vinyl.
Hmm. Yeah, and have you ever had an exhibition of your art somewhere?
Yes, I had an exhibition at Roadburn Festival in Holland, and also in Madrid. And most of the times, it's a gallery connected to the venue that will ask me to do an exhibition. I love it, but I rarely did them, and I've been a rock and roll drummer a big part of my life, and so I have an art career that's more of an outsider art thing.
And do you have any kind of gallery at home?
The galleries at home?
At home, I mean, where do you keep your art, pieces of art?
Oh, well, I have the first four paintings of Voivod, but they are in a very safe place, and because they are worth a lot of money, and people offer me a lot of money for them. So I couldn't really keep it in my apartment without it being super nervous about it. And but aside from that, I have all of my art filed here in my office. And now I'm scanning everything I did on the road from 2008 to 2019 for an upcoming book. So during the pandemic, I started an online store, awayantartpress.com, to sell my art books, and it has kept me really busy shipping books everywhere. And so now I'm working on a brand new book.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So that's about the plans till the end of this year, I guess, for you.
Yes, I when I go on the road, after every show, I draw my experience of the day in that specific city, you know. So the architecture, the vibe, and so I have documented all of the tours I did like that with drawings. But I also take photos, and I collect the flyers of the show. Some of it are, I mean, some flyers are really fantastic, punk metal, and so I collect them, and I'm in the process of scanning everything now for the book, and I was hoping I could finish it up before leaving on tour with Opeth. So we'll see. If not, I'm gonna have to spend holidays doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you have any kind of like guilty pleasure?
Oh, guilty pleasure with probably blasting Asia super loud in my office and sticks and stuff like that. Although I don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah. And what you would you do if you knew you're just living the last day of your life? What would you
Sorry.
if you knew you are living the last day of your life, what how would you spend it?
Oh my God, I was never asked that question. Um, hmm. It's a tough question because I would be tempted to say I would spend it drawing, but then maybe I would just go and walk along the St. Lawrence water. Um, my If I could, I would try to spend the day on the drum kit because it's really where I feel the most at home. And even if the Voivod material is super challenging and I have to be alert all the time on stage because the parts are coming fast at you, you know, and it's always a super challenge every show. And but as soon as I sit on the drum on the throne of the drum kit, I feel really calm all of a sudden. So it would probably be the best place for me to be, I think.
Yeah, nice. Okay, that's all I wanted to ask. Thank you so much. It was nice to meet you. And hopefully we'll meet somewhere here.
Yeah, we are aiming at going across North America in May 2023. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, I saw the band Brutal Assault once in Czech Republic. Yeah.
Yeah, we played it this August. It was amazing as always.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll see you one day here.
Excellent.
Nice to meet you. And
Nice
have a
meeting
nice
you.
day.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, bye.